Hello and welcome to my commentated clear of Salamander, a Konami shmup from the late 80s. I've been preparing my next big shmup review, and while playing that game, some things there reminded me of Salamander, and I thought it'd be fun to revisit this one, especially as it's a pretty chill clear. Also, it's pretty cold right now where I live, so I'm up for hanging out with some fire dragons. I'll be playing the Famicom port in my run, but I wanted to say a couple of words about the different versions, because this must be one of the most confusing game releases ever. The original arcade game with the title Salamander was released in Japan and Europe in 1986. It's a spin-off of the Gradius series, except it doesn't have the signature power-up system where you choose your own upgrades. Otherwise, you know what the game's about. You fly around in space and other areas, shooting mechanical enemies and destroying big bosses. In 1987, the game was released in the US as Life Force. For some reason, they changed some of the graphics and added a story to make it appear that the game was set inside of an alien life form. It's actually kind of funny. For example, you can hear a digitized voice saying that you're entering stomach muscle zone right as you start the game. Again in 1987, Konami decided to bring this reworked version back to the Japanese arcades, but they went even further with the organic theming and added the Gradius power-up system to the game. They kept the name Life Force, but just so you know, the American and Japanese arcade versions of Life Force are not the same. You'd think they would be satisfied with the game after the third iteration, but when the Famicom port came out in late 1987, it was yet again a different take on the game, taking elements from existing versions, cutting some stuff and adding completely new content in. For some reason, this time they decided to go back to the name Salamander. The NES versions, titled Life Force in the US and Life Force Salamander in Europe, are very similar to the Famicom port. They're just missing some small things like little graphical flourishes, and you only get 2 options instead of 3. There's also like 5 more additional ports for contemporary systems like the MSX and the PC Engine. So why am I playing the Famicom version? The thing is, even though I'm mainly covering old games here, this is not a nostalgia channel. Like, I never played cave games growing up. For me, they're just very good games that I've happened to get into in the past 2 years or so. That said, I have some warm fuzzy feelings specifically for the NES/Famicom version of this game. I'm pretty sure it's the first shmup I ever saw, and the first one credit clear of a shmup I ever did, back before I knew that 1cc's were even a thing. So I'm playing this for personal reasons, but I also think it's pretty competent for an 8-bit shooter. And I actually like how it's a fair bit easier than the arcade versions, which can get pretty punishing. I'm not super into old school shmups, so with this version I can just kinda enjoy the ride and take in all the nice visuals and the music that vintage Konami was known for. So yeah, let's get into the run. So we have the beautiful title screen for the Japanese version, and we're off. We begin with the classic Gradius powering up section, so just destroy some waves and pick up the upgrades that you want. I start out by getting 2 speed boosts, and I am actually going to play at this speed for the rest of the game because there's quite a lot of environmental hazards and obstacles in this game, and it can be kind of hard to know where the hitbox is for them and for you. So yeah, I'm keeping my speed manageable, although it would be a bit more fun to play with a speedier ship, but this is just much more safer. And this first stage is very iconic to me. It has these kind of unfair traps that you kind of need to know, but they're not too bad once you run through this level a couple of times. It's actually kind of cool to have these kind of like scripted sequences. And it's nice how much they put into this first level. Like, you began with the powering up section, then you got those fleshy walls. Now we're again in a different kind of environments, like going to I don't know if these are supposed to be like cells or something. And soon, yeah, we're already moving on to the next part. Now we're getting the part with these big teeth. And the hitbox on these teeth is actually pretty big. I died here a couple of times, and I watched the replay of those runs, and I basically wasn't touching these spikes or bloody teeth or whatever they are, but I still died. So yeah, that's something that you that's something that comes with the territory, I guess. But yeah, not my favorite aspect of this game, but it's manageable. And here you can get a hidden 1-up. It's hidden in one of these blue blobs here. Yeah, right there. I think I'm going to get like 10 1-ups during the run or something, so lots of 1-ups. Score-based and those hidden ones. Now we're getting into the most difficult part of the stage. I had to restart here several times because these red walls, they grow back once you've shot them. And it can be kind of hard to kind of manage the safe spot, like to destroy them quickly, but not too quickly. So I'm going to do some weird maneuvers here. I should have learned this better. And there's again a hidden 1-up here. There's this funny trick, a useless trick, but a funny one that you can do, so you can actually fly inside this wall. And I think it's really cool. Like Gradius games usually end with you fighting a gigantic brain. But then you have the brain as the first boss in Salamander, so that's kind of a cool subversion, I guess. I like how the brain kind of follows you around and with those hands and all. If you're fully powered up, the boss will die very quickly. And this is a thing for basically the whole game. So if you're powered up, the bosses pose no challenge to you, which is kind of lame. But if you're powered down, they can take quite many hits. So it's very unbalanced, very 80s design. But I guess I don't mind it too much in this game because, again, it's on the easier side, so it's not frustrating, at least. And for me, the main draw are the visuals and the music again, just like with Darius 1. Like, it feels nice to move around and shoot and stuff to get those sweet upgrades, but there's not a kind of the challenges are not super meaningful in this game. Like, there's cool set pieces, cool bosses, cool stages, but you don't actually need to do that much in this game. But again, it's kind of the type of game that you can run through once in a while and just kind of enjoy the ride, and that's what I'm doing here. Yeah, that's kind of weird. You can destroy the tips of the volcanoes. And here I like how in this stage you have these branching paths, and I don't have a route memorized, the best possible route or anything. I know there's like I think there's some hidden score bonuses I think you can get in this stage, but I'm not going for them because I'm not interested in playing this game for score, and you get a lot of extents anyway, so I'm just kind of freestyling here and going where I feel like going. One thing that I really like about this game is that it has a lot of diversity. So we had those rocks that you couldn't destroy. Now we have these rocks that you, again, can't destroy, but you can kind of split them into smaller chunks, asteroid style. So there's at least like new things happening in every stage. Some small surprises and some small twists. And yeah, destructible terrain is a kind of a big part of this game. Well, not a huge part, but you can see it in many stages. Like in the first stage, you had those flesh walls that grew back. And here here. I don't know what this is supposed to be, like this brown mass. I guess it's just like land or something. Mountain matter. And yeah, I guess I should say something about the upgrades. So I'm fully powered up right now. So I have the 3 options. I have the laser, I have the shield. And now I'm going to pick up some of these power-ups. So and leave them in the shield position. So if I happen to lose my shield, I have another shield ready to go when I need it. Kind of a cool boss that is let down by it not being very challenging. But if you die here, it becomes very challenging. So, and here you can again go for a hidden extend. So you need to position your options inside the wall. Yeah, so you can get that extend. This is a very Gradius style boss, and I actually tried playing some of the arcade versions, and this boss was super frustrating in those. I guess it was like I played the arcade, what's it called, like Konami anniversary arcade collection or something, the versions on that collection. And it was just like very hard to hit the boss, the core of the boss. So I would be shooting at the core of the boss. At least it looked like I was hitting the boss, but nothing would happen. And I would just like circle the boss and try shooting again and again. So again, I like that this version is pretty easy and very accessible. So the difficulty of this game is kind of weird because the first stage is pretty challenging. I had to restart several times before I got my run going. Then the second stage is very easy, and then this stage is, well, it's not hard, but it's very dangerous. It's very punishing. So you can see me just like kind of hanging back and just keeping the fire button pressed because you want to destroy those enemies pretty quickly, and soon we will get these huge big flames that are kind of a trademark of the Gradius series. Or are they in Gradius? I can't remember right now, so. But they're a huge part of this game, at least for me. So those will kill you instantly, and they appear pretty quickly. And since I don't have my speed upgraded because I want to be able to do like small movements in the later stages, I need to be very conscious of where those flames appear. So I'm basically constantly on the lookout for the sign of a flame coming up. And all the time I'm trying not to be surprised by the... Oh, I got in a bad position there. And that was very lucky. And that was lucky again. So you can see how this can get out of control. So this doesn't look bad, but you can die very quickly, very easily. So I'm just trying to be very careful at this point. It's kind of a stressful stage. It's just like holding position and trying to make it through. Not that much dodging. I like the visual design of those birds, and they're very beautiful, and the stage, like those flames look very cool for an 8-bit system, I think. The dragons, the fire dragons are kind of lame. But the flames are really nice. So yeah, the stages are the real enemy in this game. Bosses are very easy. Yeah, nothing super special, just kind of shoot your laser and the dragon will go away. But it's nice looking for an NES game or a Famicom game. I guess the famous thing of this game is how it changes between stages. Like you get the horizontal stages, and then you get these, I think it's called like vertical. So when you have a vertical scrolling screen but a 4:3 aspect ratio. Honestly, I don't love this style, like this vertical style. It's kind of a, I don't know, I feel like you have too little space, vertical space, and then the horizontal space is just kind of wasted. It's too wide, so it's not my favorite, but again, it kind of works in this game because it's more of an like audiovisual experience, so it's just kind of cool to just look at backgrounds and stuff. And this is an interesting part because you get this, again, it's borrowed from Gradius, so you get this speed up section, but I like how you can do this while being still relatively slow. So I only have 2 speed ups, and it's more than enough for this this section, and you don't need to like super memorize it or anything. You can just play on reflex, so I enjoy that. It's kind of funny that you have this kind of brain or guts thing going on in the background on the sides. It reminds me of Battletoads on NES because you have the famous Turbo Tunnel stage where you're speeding on a bike, and I think it also has like similar kind of background, like this kind of a intestines or something. Strange coincidence. I hope I'm not misremembering that, because that would be strange. I need to check it after doing this commentary. So this stage is a little kind of empty. There's not that many enemies, there's not that much going on, but I think it gives you time to appreciate the aesthetics and the atmosphere. And again, we have again new graphics on the sides. I'm not sure what this is supposed to represent, but it feels kind of gross and nasty in a kind of a good way. And these things, I'm not sure what they're supposed to be, but again, they're kind of unpleasant in a way that fits the atmosphere of the game. Yeah, as we can see, not that much happening, but we're getting to a cool section here. So we have this big rib cage that we are flying through, and I really like how long it is. It's like, what kind of creature is this supposed to be? Like this, like a never-ending rib cage. And these sickles or like shrimp-looking things are cool because you can't destroy them. So you can shoot them for points, but you actually need to just dodge and avoid them. Which is cool because everything else dies very quickly in this game when you're powered up. So it poses a kind of a new kind of challenge when you have indestructible enemies or stuff. Here I just kind of chill for a while to just showcase the boss because I think it's a cool 8-bit sprite. And I actually noticed that the eyes follow your movements, so that's kind of a detail that I didn't notice before. So it was just kind of I was just kind of testing it out and seeing how the eyes follow my ship. I think this stage was added to the Famicom version. I'm not super sure, but I think like this could be a new stage. It's a very beautiful one, I feel like. I really like the kind of dull jade green palette that they went for the mountains, and you have this subtle shimmer on the stars, which makes this kind of a... And I also like the music, so it's just kind of a beautiful stage to fly through. This is a kind of a dangerous section because you can't destroy these things and you can't predict their movement, so you kind of have to play reactively. There's lots of moments in this game where there's not that much happening, but at least we have beautiful green mountains. Some environmental obstacles, and I think soon we'll get a wave, an enemy wave that attacks from behind, which is again, I think it's like a cool twist or a small challenge. Yeah, this wave. And if you take too long, they will actually rush you, so try to get behind them when you get the chance, yeah, like that. Some more environmental stuff. Here you can create a kind of a roof for yourself from your lasers. I think this is kind of a cool section because you need to... It's not that simple to position your lasers. Like, it's easy to do. Like, if you start moving, then the options kind of change their position too. I haven't played Gradius 5 in a while, but I think that Treasure really put your, like, laser moving skills to the test in that game. Yeah, that was a weird, kind of a really quick mid-boss, and I think the music was from Gradius, so kind of a small throwback to Gradius, which is nice. And then we get a twist. Like, this is so funny. Like, this has nothing to do with anything in this game. Like, it's so funny that it's kind of a space shooter, but then it became this you're flying inside of an alien life form game, and suddenly you're getting this Egyptian theme. I guess it was kind of an obligatory thing that you had to do in the 80s or something, like have an Egypt stage. I feel like a lot of NES games have those. Like, I think there's Mega Man 4, I think, has Pharaoh Man, and then in DuckTales 2, I think you go to Egypt. I'm sure there's lots more. But I kind of like how, like, out of place it is. It's kind of surreal in a funny way. Sometimes it's just fun to play games that make no sense at all. Just kind of enjoying the wackiness. I think it makes it also super funny in this game because there's lots of like sections that I think are supposed to be like really cool and even kind of scary and threatening and stuff, and then you just have this very out of place Egyptian section. And this stage is actually one of the reasons why I don't go for more speed, because you have those... There were lots of tight passages that we had to go through, so it's nice not to be controlling a too fast of a ship. I like this section, again having these like super short cinematic things. I think it's pretty rare for an 87 shmup or an 87 game at all. So good job, Konami. And once again, we get a very nice looking boss sprites, but not much of a challenging fights, I'm afraid. At least the colored bullets look nice. It just occurred to me that most of the bullets in this game are actually very slow. I think it's kind of slightly atypical, I think, of the era. But obviously I like it a lot since I'm not an old school player, I'm a Danmaku player. for the most part, so I like the slow bullets and weaving through them. Here we actually get kind of fast enemy formations, but they don't pose much of a threat if you're powered up. I really like how they use these orbs that are, I think, are from Gradius too. They're like the cores of the ships or something, maybe. But they're in color this time and they attack you. So that's a cool subversion. And this can be kind of a dangerous section, so I actually need to do some dodging and feel threatened for once. Those fire like flares, yeah, like these ones, are kind of annoying because they appear, can appear pretty close to you, and sometimes you can end up dying to them without expecting it. Remember that for later. I like this, how this kind of stage moves on from the space section into this like technological complex or something. Again, there is no, like, the theming of this game is all over the place, and I'm here for it. And like, again, this green color is a kind of a inspired choice, like you're flying on a giant pool table or something. Again, kind of funny, but works for me. And yeah, by the way, this is the final stage, and it isn't too bad if you don't make any stupid mistakes like this one. So this has been a no miss up until now, and this is kind of a one life game because when you're fully powered up, you're very powerful, but when you die, you lose everything, and it can be pretty hard to recover. But since I have a lot of lives, I can kind of, even if I die many times, I can kind of just resource spam my way through the game. And actually it kind of makes it more interesting because all of this is pretty easy if you're fully powered up, but now I actually need to kind of think about what I'm doing. And I don't think I've ever played this section without being powered up, so I thought that the bosses would go, these Moai heads would, again on loan for Gradius, would go away if I just evade them, but then I realized no, that's not going to happen, so I tried to just kind of get into position so I can shoot them. And I guess the game's hitting some kind of sprite limit because my ship keeps disappearing. Weird. Yeah, that's one down. And another one. It's kind of funny how everything in the game becomes very dangerous when you don't have any weapons. Dying yet again, but I still have 12 lives left. That's like, I don't know, I think this game has the Konami code, which gives you like 30 lives or something. But you actually get a lot of lives if you can just kind of survive long enough. This is again, I think, a very atmospheric, very cool section. You have those strange sounds like a dolphin crying or something. And then you get the kind of I guess this is the life force itself. A very cool image, especially for an 8-bit game. And then I guess this is the Salamander of the game. And luckily this is pretty manageable, even without any weapons, or with the basic weapon, which I'm grateful for. It would be very frustrating to just kind of lose the run here to one simple mistake. And then here, I'm actually not sure if I'm able to destroy the life force orb before the screen scrolls, but yeah. That's the final boss done, and then we have the escape sequence, so some Metroid influences perhaps. So soon the screen will scroll faster and we get a kind of an unfair memorization heavy escape sequence because the hitbox of the ship is just pretty large. It looks thin, but it can be hard to kind of make yourself fit through those gaps, and they come pretty quickly. So I die there, I die again, I try to do some honest dodging here, then I die again, and then I just fly up to the screen because I think there's like a safe spot there. So you can basically, I think you can just stay at the stay up there for the escape sequence if you want to no miss the game. One really cool thing about this game is this credit sequence, which actually surprised me. I'm not super sure if this is in the NES version or if it's only on Famicom. I need to check that. But again, maybe some Metroid influences because you have the pilot sitting there in a cool pose with the helmet on, and soon the helmet will come off and we'll see that the pilot is a lady, which is a really cool thing for an 80s shmup again. So that's Salamander for the Famicom. Not the most exciting game in the world, but I think it's pretty cool for a 80s 8-bit title. And yeah, there's nice visuals, nice graphics, nice atmosphere, and I appreciate all of those things. Like the gameplay is very simple, but at least it's not too difficult. So it's just kind of fun to... You need to kind of figure out some of the trickier sections and try not to die until the end. But otherwise, pretty manageable, pretty breezy, small, chill, fun game. Thanks for watching.